While Dr. King was bonded with his Alpha brothers, he was also careful not to allow that bond to overshadow any kinship he had with other protesters, who also laid their lives on the line for the civil rights struggle. Racial tensions were at an all-time high, and the retaliation became more violent and life-threatening. Although the brothers were under a microscope of scrutiny, Dr. King's magnetic personality offered some comic relief.
Dr. King was one of the most fun-loving people you ever want to meet. But you didn't see that in him as he moved around from day to day. When he was in a small group of guys, he could tell jokes for hours. He could sit there and listen to jokes for hours and laugh like crazy, you know.
It was always serious, but Martin always made it fun. I mean, I used to say that years ago, if there was somebody that could play Martin Luther King, you know, as I knew him in private, it would be Eddie Murphy. Because he was always cracking jokes, he was always signifying. He would mimic various preachers, just caricaturing our friends and brothers. At the times when we should have been afraid, such as when we were going into Birmingham, he'd say, now, we're not gonna all make it out of Birmingham. Birmingham really is Birmingham. That's the nastiest town in the world. We're not gonna all make it out of there. And just as he'd do that, then he'd say, but don't worry. If they get you, I will preach the best funeral you've ever had, anybody ever had.
In 1983, President Ronald Reagan signed a bill making Martin Luther King Jr. Day a national holiday. But the Alphas wanted something more to commemorate their fraternity brother. So they created an idea so magnificent, it seemed almost impossible.
From the outset, I thought at the least it would be 2 years, at a maximum it would be 7. So I felt comfortable in jumping into something that I could probably bring closure on in 7 years. 7 turned into 15. Now, that's a totally different story. From my point of view, once you make the commitment, regardless how long the time it would actually take to bring it to fruition, you're in it for the long haul.
We are proud of what we did. We take great pride in the fact that we did it.
There's been some measure of criticism thrown around, bandied around about this memorial. People have said, well, isn't the holiday enough for Dr. King? And folks have said, well, you know, he wasn't a president. Why a memorial?
That statue embodies, for me, the entire movement. It is absolutely fitting because Dr. King and that movement forced America to live up to its Constitution. So when people said freedom for all, when they talked about we are, one nation, all Americans, free and true. So Dr. King and others made America, forced them to truly accept the Constitution and not talk about it, forced them to live it.
Well, this monument really is about Martin Luther King's ability to solve America's problems without violence. And none of these were black problems. These were American problems.
Dr. King became a drum major for justice, peace, and righteousness. We too must become motivated to see what part we can play, whether large or small, to help make our community, our nation, and our world a better place for everyone. It's time to live out the dream.